What are you looking at, butthead? Say hi to your mom for me.
Welcome back to Kirill Smashes Acting. I'm Kirill, actor, educator, cat enthusiast, and today we're talking about point of view. A lot of times when I'm working with my younger actors, they always ask me, why do they have to do all this research? What's the importance of figuring out objectives, tactics, obstacles, and then figuring out all of the things that have to go on through this imaginary world? Today we're going to talk about why that research is important and how we can use point of view to make our performances more nuanced, stronger, and more compelling to our audience. This is number 4 in our Acting 101 series, so if you haven't seen episodes 1, 2, and 3, the link will be in the description below. So the million-dollar question is, what is point of view? Well, that's simple. Point of view is how your character feels about everything around them. That includes every person, that includes the environment around them, that could mean sociological, economic, historical, anything that you think might be relevant to your performance. That's point of view. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, why is that important? Well, point of view dictates 3 huge things that go into acting. Number 1, subtext. Subtext is what you're really saying in your words. Your line could be hello, written out, but if you think the other person is a scumbag, you might say hello in a very different way. The second reason point of view is important is reaction and inner monologue. Now, the way you react to something depends on how your character feels about the occurrence. So if somebody's saying, I love you, the way you react depends on how you feel about that person. Just because your line might be, I love you too, does not mean that you actually mean it, and does not mean that the subtext has to be the same as the text. So to continue with the idea of reaction, let's think about what the term inner monologue means. The easy answer is the inner monologue is everything your character is thinking inside of their head. Inner monologue and point of view really help you connect why your character is saying their lines in the order they're saying it, why they're responding with the words that they're saying to the other character, and most importantly, what their lines actually mean. Now, this video won't be as long as some of the others we've had before, because I think the concept of point of view is actually pretty natural to us as human beings. The biggest difficulty for a lot of actors when they're starting their training is getting out of the idea that the text is the end-all be-all, and instead focusing on what's happening inside of the character and understanding why those words are coming out. Now we need to talk about how to make point of view actionable. When you're the one talking, your point of view changes the subtext of your lines. When you're not the one talking, your point of view changes how you listen and respond to the lines. One of the most important things, especially in film acting, is having sharp, articulated points of view and inner monologue when the other person is talking. Michael Caine, in his book about film acting, said that the person the audience remembers the most is not the person who has the most lines, but the person that the camera focuses on the most when they're listening. This responding and listening character is important because that's the way for the audience to figure out how we're supposed to feel about the information we're being told. If the actor across from you is giving you this sad, sad story, and yet you as the listening character are using your inner monologue and your facial expressions to make it clear that you don't believe this person, we as the audience don't believe this person. So you have a huge responsibility as the listener to tell the story to the audience and to make sure that they understand what the journey they're supposed to be going on is. Inner monologue is one of the most useful techniques for an actor when they're listening. It keeps them connected to the other person, connected to the story, and most importantly, active even when they're listening. This way, just the way you change your face and the way you change your thoughts will tell the other actor if their tactics are working or if they're getting their objective, while telling the audience all the information they have to know about what's happening in the story. Now we are going to cover inner monologue in the next episode, and hopefully we will have a really nice special guest to help with that one. As you may or may not have noticed, Mittens doesn't have her cone anymore. And I know based on her physical actions when she got the cone, what her point of view of the cone was. She was startled, she was angry, and most importantly, she was irritated by the fact that something was obstructing her view, and that made her feel unsafe. Because it made her feel unsafe, her behavior became much more erratic, a bit more aggressive, and most importantly, a bit more scared. To get a really clear example of how point of view works, let's watch the opening to the fabulous movie As Good as It Gets. Again, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. One of my favorite actors, Helen Hunt, is in this movie. Sadly, she is not in this scene. We're going to watch the opening to the movie to see how point of view changes the performance in both subtext and inner monologue for the characters. Mittens, move!
I'm just going to get some flowers, dear. I'll be back in 20 minutes. It's too
So her point of view about the day is clear.
And I'm oh so happy.
The moment she saw Jack Nicholson's character, you could see her point of view in her face. She didn't even have to mumble that line, and you would have known exactly how she felt about the situation. That tells you as the audience how to feel about Jack Nicholson's character.
Come on now, sweetheart. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Come on. Go for a little ride, then you can whiz all over the city. Come on. Come on, go for a ride. Come on.
Even though Jack Nicholson was trying to lure the dog there with nice words, you could tell by the subtext that it just wasn't quite right. And then he doesn't care about this dog.
Come on now. Come on. No, you monkey! You have pissed your last floor. I bet you wish you
At this point, the subtext that he doesn't care about the dog has clearly become the text.
You dog-eared monkey. This is New York.
Don't do that
You
to
can make it
dogs.
here. You can make it anywhere. You ugly, smelly.
Verdell!
Uh-oh.
Verdell! Verdell? Where's my good doggy? Verdell? Come here, sweetheart. Mr. Udall?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Verdell?
What does he look like?
My dog. You know, my dog with the little.
You can tell so much about how Jack Nicholson feels about Greg Kinnear's character just by
I
the
got
facial
it.
expressions
You
in
were
this
talking
scene.
about your dog. I thought it was the name of that colored man that I've been seeing in the halls.
Which color was that?
Thick molasses, with a broad nose. Perfect
Frank,
for
just a
smelling
second.
trouble in prison food.
Frank!
There, Jack Nicholson uses a very kind of positive sounding voice to say some really terrible things. And though he's purposefully coming off very cheery, he's using that as a tactic to dig into Greg Kinnear's character even more.
Son, you have got to get dressed. Frank Sachs, Melvin Udall.
How you doing?
Frank shows my work, Mr. Udall. I think you know that. People are gonna start coming.
What I
please.
know is as long as you keep your work zipped up around me, I don't give a rat crap what or where you shove your show. Are we done being neighbors for now?
Let me talk to you. No. Not worth it. Definitely not worth it. Verdell must be in the apartment. Okay.
Especially right there when he says, "I hope you find your dog." That's where you can
Hope you
tell
find him.
how Jack Nicholson uses point of view to figure out exactly
don't
which
love anything,
tactics
Mr.
work
Udall.
best on getting under the skin of Greg Kinnear.
Okay.
I hope this helps you understand how to fill in as much information as possible about the character so that whenever you're on stage or on camera, you're always making choices and you're helping to tell the story that that character is meant to tell. For today's lesson, the biggest book that I drew from was called Inner Monologue for the Actor by Rob Rosnowski. Now, I only have that book in a digital format, But I do have his next book, Roadblocks for the Actor, which we'll talk about at a future time. The link for the book will be down in the description below. I highly recommend it. I'm going to talk more in depth about inner monologue in a future episode, and hopefully, since Rob was actually one of my professors in graduate school, we can convince him to come on for a guest segment. Fingers crossed. Paws crossed. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe, and if you want me to cover anything else, just let me know in the comments below. Say bye-bye, Mittens. Bye-bye, Mittens.